Previously, we saw the flames of rebellion ignite on the Ionian coast, and the Athenian hoplites send the first Persian invasion reeling at Marathon. Now, the stage is set at the narrow pass of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans lead an impossible defense. But why would they send such a small group of warriors? The Persians, led by Xerxes himself, approached in late summer 480 BC, when Spartans celebrated their Carnea festival again. Unlike 10 years earlier at Marathon, this time the Spartan magistrates considered the threat great enough to justify sending a small expeditionary force under King Leonidas. He handpicked 300 soldiers of his personal guard. The Spartan king was convinced he was going to certain death, and so he selected only fathers with living sons. His mission was to delay the Persian advance until the main Spartan army would be unleashed after festivities ended. He would also recruit other Greek war bands along the way. In total, about 7,000 Greeks defended Thermopylae under Leonidas. Manning their defensive position, the Greeks held the line for 2 days. As planned, the narrow terrain neutralized the Persian numbers. Wave after wave was repelled, but betrayal changed everything. A local revealed a hidden path to the Persians, allowing them to outflank the defenders. The small Phocian group garrisoning the mountain path retreated when they saw the Persians coming, and so the whole defensive operation was compromised. Seeing himself outflanked, Leonidas dismissed most of the Greek land force. He remained with his 300 Spartans, 700 Thespians, and a few hundred others to make a final stand. They fought to the last man. Their sacrifice bought time for the Greeks and saved the lives of over 3,000 men who he sent away to fight another day. It is estimated that the Persians lost a staggering 20,000 men at Thermopylae, while the Greeks lost only 2,000. After Thermopylae, the road to the Greek heartland lay open. Xerxes advanced through Boeotia with little resistance. Cities submitted or were destroyed. All eyes turned to Athens, the symbolic heart of the resistance. But with no army strong enough to defend it, the wise Themistocles urged evacuation. The only hope, he insisted, was at sea. The riddling words of the oracle at Delphi echoed in every mind. Trust in the wooden wall. Some believed it referred to the Acropolis's wooden palisade. Themistocles thought it meant the growing Athenian navy, and he acted swiftly. In a mass operation, Athens was evacuated. Almost everyone was ferried to the nearby island of Salamis. Xerxes entered a silent city. The lower quarters had been abandoned. Those who remained barricaded themselves on the high ground of the Acropolis, preparing to make a final stand. They resisted fiercely, hurling stones and fire down from the heights. But they were few and couldn't last long. The city was burned, yet the Athenians were not defeated. Their fleet was intact, and Themistocles had one last card to play. He devised a plan to lure the Persian navy into the narrow waters between Salamis and the mainland, where numbers meant less and maneuvering meant everything. To ensure the trap was sprung, Themistocles used deception. He sent a message to Xerxes, claiming the Greek alliance was about to break and some were preparing to flee. Xerxes believed it, and he ordered his fleet into the straits, confident of a final crushing victory. But the Greeks were waiting. Their triremes rowed forward in unison, bronze rams gleaming beneath the waves. The narrow straits prevented the larger Persian fleet from spreading out. Confusion and chaos spread as ships collided, oars snapped, and commanders shouted in vain. One after another, Persian vessels were sunk or boarded by Greek marines. Fighting on the decks was intense, and soon water filled with floating debris. Xerxes watched from his golden throne on high ground as his fleet was shattered. This was Thermopylae on sea, but with more dire consequences. The Battle of Salamis was a decisive victory for the Greeks. Persia's naval superiority was broken. The invasion, though not over, had lost its backbone. Xerxes left some of his army in Greece under the command of Mardonius and returned to Asia, fearing the Greeks would destroy his pontoon bridges across the Hellespont and trap his army in Europe. Mardonius decided to abandon Athens and spent the winter further north. He hoped to win through diplomacy what could not be taken by force. He offered peace to the Athenians, but they refused, and so Mardonius moved into Attica again. Athens, once more, was evacuated. The Athenian leaders asked Sparta for help again, threatening they would accept Persian terms if they didn't help. As you probably guessed by now, Sparta was celebrating another festival, but this time they were ready to act decisively. They sent a 45,000-strong army, most likely the largest army the Spartans had ever sent beyond the Isthmus of Corinth. All in all, the Greek allies were still outnumbered by the Persians and their vassals, but they fielded enough heavy infantry to balance the equation. Mardonius chose his battlefield carefully. Plataea, a fertile plain with room for his strong cavalry. It was here that Persia would try to end the war. For days, both sides maneuvered and skirmished. The terrain favored neither decisively. Supplies ran low, patience wore thin. At one point, the Greeks decided to withdraw from their initial positions to secure supply lines, but it was badly executed and the Greek lines appeared to break. Mardonius saw his chance and attacked, but the Greeks had not broken completely. As the Persians surged forward, the Greek phalanx locked into place and their shield walls slowly pushed the enemy back. During this chaos, Mardonius was struck down by a Spartan warrior. His demise shattered Persian morale. What followed was a rout. The Persian camp was overrun and their forces scattered. Few escaped the battlefield. On the same day, miles away, the Greek fleet destroyed the remnants of the Persian navy at Mycale, on the coast of Asia Minor. The dual victories of Plataea and Mycale marked the end of Persia's invasion. The threat that had loomed over Greece for decades was finally lifted. Persia's dream of conquering Europe had been crushed and Xerxes never returned. The empire turned inward, never again reaching so far west. But victory had come at a cost. Cities were ruined, thousands of people lost. Alliances had been tested to the breaking point. The Spartans were eager to end their involvement in the war and focused on consolidating their regional power. Athens had suffered deeply, burned, twice evacuated, its temples destroyed. It emerged with pride intact, but foundations broken. Yet from this destruction came purpose. The Athenians began rebuilding, not only in stone, but in ambition. At the island of Delos in 478 BC, a new alliance was formed, the Delian League. Its goal was to protect against future Persian aggression. Member states' contributions were made in ships, soldiers, or silver. Athens, the League's leader, was to coordinate all operations. For a time, the League fulfilled its promise. Persian garrisons were driven from Thrace and the Aegean islands. Freed cities celebrated their liberation. But what was meant as a mutual defense pact became something more, a sphere of Athenian power stretching across the seas. As trade expanded, the Athenian navy became a source of both pride and power. The treasury, once kept in Delos, was moved to Athens. The Athenians, emboldened by victory, began to exert more control over their allies. Contributions became mandatory and dissent was crushed. League members found they could not easily leave. The Greek world was no longer united by fear of Persia. It was beginning to divide along new lines: empire and independence, oligarchy and democracy. Athens, proud and powerful, would soon clash with Sparta. Greece would be at war with itself, while the Persians regained dominance in Asia Minor. East and West would meet again, in war, in trade, in dialogue, but never again would Persia return to conquer Greece. In the following century, Alexander the Great acknowledged that the Greek defensive victory over Persia paved the way for his own conquests. Sheltered from imperial expansion from the east, Rome began its journey and carried Greek influence in its own cultural DNA. Time passed, and the stories of the Greco-Persian Wars have been told and retold for centuries. Myths were born at Marathon and Thermopylae. At Salamis and Plataea, history and legend fused. And yet, at the core of it all, there's a defining notion that when the powerful came for the small stood firm and won. This has been The Reel of Time. To lock shields with us, like and subscribe. A marathon of our other stories is just one click away. The reel never stops.